Hey, what's up? We're back, and this week it's for UFC China. But first, we're gonna go back, take a look of UFC Argentina last week, and I got to give a shout out to Kyle Stevens right off the bat. He called me out on putting Parlay on Botella as my most confident pick, and he was correct on his analysis. Man, he nailed it. Cynthia Calvillo had a dominant win there, and he was right on that one. So I got to give him his credit. But we're gonna go through the card, and the first fight of the night was Nad Nurmani against Anderson dos Santos, and I thought this was one of the more fun fights on the card. It went the whole distance, but Anderson dos Santos had some moments on the feet. He definitely gave Nat a good fight, but Nurmani did what he did. He landed some good shots on the feet. He got some takedowns, and he was able to grind out Anderson dos Santos, get a decision victory. And now Nurmani's 2-0 in the UFC, so he's on his way. Maybe he'll get a bigger matchup next time. And for Anderson dos Santos, I hope he goes back down to 135, and he looks like he could potentially be a fun fighter there. And then next you have Jesus Pinedo against Devin Powell. And I actually cashed on a bet with Jesus Pinedo because, I thought that he kind of fought very passive in this fight, though. He wasn't very aggressive. I thought that he was respecting Powell's ground game too much in terms of every single time he would go down and start throwing in his guard, he was landing brutal shots. He was really hurting Powell, so I don't think he really had as much to worry about with his ground game as he thought he did. And he probably could have finished him with ground and pound, but, he had a very dominant performance. I thought he won, basically the whole entire fight. And Powell just isn't a great fighter. And Pinedo, he didn't look as impressive as he did on tape or as aggressive, but maybe he had some jitters. It was his first fight in the UFC. He was on short notice, so we're going to give him a pass on that one. He did get a win there. And we'll see what he does from here. And I imagine Devin Powell probably get cut, but who knows? I mean, if he gets another fight, we'll see what he does as well. And up next, Laureano Staropoli gets Hector Aldana, and that was a hell of a fight, man. Really good fight. Both these guys came and they went to war early. And Aldana, he got really beat up, man. I mean, he got his eyes shut. He was taking some big shots, and Laureano Staropoli really showed up, man. He looked really good. He looked really big also, and he put it to Hector Aldana. Aldana early landed some nice leg kicks. He was in there as well. I mean, it wasn't a one-sided fight. Staropoli had a very big hematoma, but, Staropoli clearly won. He dominated the action, and it was a dominant performance from him. And, it was in his hometown. It was a fun fight. That was a big landing, a big fight for him in his career, in my opinion. For Hector Aldana, he's now 0-2 since he's returned to the UFC. Lost his last 3 overall. And, I wouldn't mind seeing him get another fight, but I'm not sure if they'll give him another fight. Who knows? He's kind of in a weird position here because I do think he's a decent fighter, but he has fought a lot of good fighters, man. And his last 2 fights, he's fought 2 pretty solid guys in their country, and he's taken the losses, but they've been entertaining fights, so we'll see what happens with Hector Aldana. And for Staropoli, that was a big win. I mean, I don't think he's ready to get a big step-up competition yet, but he definitely is a fun striker to watch. And then next, Austin Arnett against Humberto Bandenet, and Bandenet just hasn't really improved, man. I mean, since he came into the UFC off the local scene, I really thought he had the potential to be a pretty good fighter. He went over to Timo Yama for a little while. I thought that would have been a really nice camp switch for him, but then he returned. I think he was at Phuket top team for this fight, and he just didn't seem like he had the cardio. It doesn't seem like he's improving. He's not filling out the holes in his game. And Austin Arnett, he came in there, he got a gritty win. He was 0-2 in the UFC, or 0-3, no, 0-2, and he lost on the Contender Series. And he had a tough first round, and he was able to, gut it out, get the victory there, and pretty dominant in the end of it. So, big win for Austin Arnett. He probably keeps his UFC job there. And Bandenet, he may be cut, man. I mean, it's a shame that he could be cut because he's such a young guy, has a lot of talent, has a lot of raw potential, but doesn't seem like he's getting the proper training, or maybe he's not motivated enough to get better, but just doesn't seem like he's added those extra tools to his game, or even, has the cardio either at this point. So definitely a little bit disappointed in the progression of Humberto Bandenet, but it was a big win for Austin Arnett. Gets to keep his job in the UFC. And then looks Alejandro Pantoja against Yuta Sasaki. He was one part of the parlay of the week, and he had a very dominant victory. I mean, a very slick back take. Took the back out of rear naked choke pretty quickly in the first round. And, Pantoja's quietly creeping up there. If they're going to keep this 125-pound division, man, I mean, he's 4-1 in the UFC. his one loss to Dustin Ortiz was a very questionable decision where, it could have went either way. So he has the potential to be 5-0 in the UFC. And he's had some pretty dominant performances. He's had 2 finishes. So he's a serious player there, And for Yuta Sasaki, I did think he looked a little bit improved on the feet for the short period of time that it was on the feet. And he's training now with Matt Serra, training at Team Longo, Serra Longo Gym. So he's getting a little bit better, and I think he'll come back strong from this. I think he'll come back harder. But, big win for Pantoja, and I really do think Pantoja's kind of cemented himself in that top 10 in the world at flyweight. And up next, Michel Prazeres just kept rolling, man. 7 straight wins for Prazeres, and this one was probably the easiest of all 7. He came out, floored Bartosz Fabinski in the first round, 1 minute into the fight, dropped him very quickly with the overhand, got a guillotine on him. Actually made Fabinski tap out twice. The ref missed one of the taps from Fabinski, but just a dominant performance by Prazeres. And, he's I think he said he wanted to try to go back to 155 pounds. I mean, we all know the struggles that he's had with that, so we'll see how that actually goes. But big win for him at 170. He's now 2-0 at 170 as well. So he's probably right around the brink of that top 25 at 170 also. So he's right there, man. I mean, in both divisions, he could be a top 15 player. And, he's proven to be dangerous, both standing and on the ground. So big win for Prazeres. And for Bartosz Fabinski, he's a guy that only has really one style to win. His striking is very rudimentary. Doesn't have great jiu-jitsu. He's just a grinder. He's a wrestler. Wants to hold guys down. And, he may be able to do that to lower level fighters in the UFC. But I feel like whenever he gets an upper echelon fighter or a step up like he did here against Tractor, I feel like he's always going to fail unless he shows some major improvements. So Bartosz definitely needs to go back to the gym and, work his game out a little bit more. Get a little bit more well-rounded. But, I'm sure he'll get another fight in the UFC as well. He was undefeated. And then on to the fight, Cynthia Calvillo against Poliana Botelho. And, man, really had a terrible read on this fight. I don't know. I thought Botelho was going to have a major advantage on the feet. And Cynthia actually showed some good things on the feet. I did think, that she probably was getting outstruck a little bit. But she was definitely landing some shots. And then when she got the fight to the ground, she was pretty dominant. She was able to get a choke in without even getting her hooks in. So it's, a little bit disappointing to see that for Poliana. But, Calvillo really re-announced herself in the division. She had that suspension. She had a little bit of time off. The loss to Esparza. Lost a bit of momentum. But now she came back, got that big win over a highly touted prospect as an underdog. And she's probably going to re-announce herself right back in that top 10. I know she called out Karate Hottie Michelle Waterson. That's actually a fight that makes sense that I can see them putting together. So we'll see if they do that. And for Poliana, that's her first professional loss. I believe it might be it's her second professional loss. I'm sorry. And, it was a tough loss. It was quick. It was dominant for Cynthia. So it really shows that Poliana probably needs a little bit more seasoning, needs to get a little bit better. And I really think she needs to fix that stance, man. She has that leg out way too wide. She's much too flat-footed, man. She can get leg kicks, she can get taken down, as you saw. So I feel like she has some improvements to do, but I still feel like Poliana potentially could be a player in that division. And next, Marlon Vera against Guido Canetti. This was a hell of a fight. Marlon Vera came to fight. Guido Canetti came to fight. Guido almost finished him a couple times. He really rocked him. And then the second round started. Marlon Vera just turned it up, put the pressure on Canetti, got him in the clinch, started landing these brutal knees, and just put Canetti clean out with some ground and pound, man. And that's a big, dominant victory for Marlon Vera. Back-to-back KO wins. And, or he had a submission. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm thinking. He got the guillotine. And, but he did drop him with that big shot in the clinch. But, man, I mean, big win for Marlon Vera. That's 2 in a row for him after he had a little bit of a skid. And, he's probably going to get another top 15 matchup. We'll see if he can win that one. But he's definitely showed some new aggression. He's shown that he wants to go in there. He wants to finish fights. And that's always good to see. And he has a really killer mindset. He's trained with a great camp. So the sky's the limit there for Marlon Vera. I mean, I never think he'll probably be I don't think he'll ever be a contender for the title. But I feel like he'll definitely have a lot of fun scraps he's going to give to the UFC fans. And I think he's going to be a long-time fighter in the UFC. And for Guido Canetti, he had another good performance relatively, man. He rocked Marlon Vera, had him on Queerstein a little bit. I think he dropped him. I'm not 100% positive on that. If he didn't, he really rocked him pretty bad a couple of times for sure. And, I don't think he should retire. I think he looked good, and I think that he could continue to fight and beat a lot of guys. So Canetti's still alive in that division as well, in my opinion. And then next, Ian Heinisch gets Cesar Ferreira, and big win for Ian Heinisch, man. I mean, I thought that Ferreira won the first round, but Heinisch was attacking on the ground with the second-degree black belt. Really showed that he didn't have any fear fighting anywhere. And then Ferreira was able to use that, distance control game, his timing on his takedowns, and he was able to get takedowns to get inside really whenever he wanted. And he was dominating that second round. I mean, he really had, not dominating, but he was winning it clearly. He was controlling the distance. He was landing his body kicks. He was landing it straight and getting a couple takedowns. And then I feel like Heinisch completely changed the momentum of the fight with that flurry at the end of the round where he rocked Ferreira, he dropped him. And then that third round, Ferreira once again was able to get a takedown to start the round. I mean, if Ferreira would have had a little bit more top control, been able to ride it out, and not had Heinisch get up and really beat him up on the feet, who knows? He may have been able to squeak a decision there, but Ian Heinisch definitely had way more damage. He was definitely the guy going forward, the guy inflicting punishment. And, he was the rightful winner in that fight, but Ferreira still showed a lot of heart, in my opinion. He didn't get finished once again, and, I feel like Heinisch is a serious player in that division. He does have a bit poor fight IQ, in my opinion. I mean, I don't think it was smart to go down there and try to submit a guy like Cesar Ferreira no matter how close he got to it. But, he's able to prove that he's a dog down there. He's a dog standing up. He could do both, and, he probably needs to prove that defensive wrestler a little bit, but I feel like Ferreira is one of the best wrestlers in that division, so getting taken down a few times by Ferreira is no shame. And for Ferreira, I mean, I still think he's around that top 25 as well, so I think both these guys are very talented. Probably time to give Heinisch a top 15, top 25 name. And for Ferreira, I feel like he's still right there also, so don't think their stocks drop too much, in my opinion. And up next, Johnny Walker against Khalil Rountree. And, big win for Johnny Walker. He came in there and I don't know what Khalil Rountree was doing, man. I mean, he was standing at range with a guy that's 6'6", and you've seen if you watched his tape. I mean, I don't know if Khalil did, but that when you close the distance on the guy, he doesn't like being pressured, and Khalil just let him fight at range, and then, he let himself get that tie clinch. He was way too lazy to clinch, and, Johnny Walker landed two brutal elbows and just knocked him clean out. I mean, big win for Johnny Walker. And he's kind of a character, he's eccentric, he's a funny guy. So, I mean, I feel like if he gets a couple wins together at that 205-pound division, he could really, announce himself as a guy to watch there, because that division is so shallow. And, Roundtree, once again, just proved his limitations as a fighter. Just not very good. This was the first time he got finished on the feet, but, I mean, his career at the UFC has been up and down. He had won, 3 in a row, I believe, with the no contest. But he also had the lost double leg trick. I mean, I know it was a no contest, but Khalil's just he's a fun fighter. He's a first rounder bust guy, but I feel like Johnny Walker once again proved that he's never going to be much more than that. And Walker, he has the potential to be a really good fighter. He has a lot of intangibles. He's a huge guy. He has good power. But definitely still he needs a lot of improvements, and I wouldn't really rush him up the ladder at all. And up next, Ricardo Lamas gets Darren Elkins. And, I thought Elkins had a pretty decent first round, but, I thought Lamas was still probably up 2-0 going into that third round. Then he got that finish. Big win for Ricardo Lamas. He put a lot of damage on the damaged Darren Elkins, and, Elkins did what he did, man. He made it a dogfight. He made it gritty. It was a close fight while it lasted. And, the finish maybe is a little bit premature, but, I mean, Darren Elkins, he was taking a lot of punishment, and big win for Lamas. He kind of just reannounced himself as he's still in the top 10. He's still there. He's still not completely done, and I still never think Lamas is going to go up and get the title. I don't think he's going to be a top 5 guy anymore, but he's still in the mix, And then for Darren Elkins, that's a really tough loss. Like I said, the loser of this fight would probably be in a no man's land, and Elkins, 2 straight losses after he had that big win streak. He's about 34 years old, so he can still have some fun fights, but I think his time, as a dark horse in the division is probably done. And I'm next, Santiago Ponzinibbio and Neil Magny. And this was a hell of a fight, I mean, really one-sided fight, but it was fun while it lasted. Ponzinibbio was nailing that leg of Neil Magny. Magny was very defensive, shelling up almost from the beginning. It looked like he got caught with the punch in his eye, and after that he didn't want anything to do with striking with Santiago. It seemed. I mean, he would have these small flurries, these small short periods of time where he would start sticking his jab out there and double, triple up on it, start walking forward, and even had some small success, but don't think he ever hurt Ponzinibbio or ever even phased it with any of the punches that he threw. And Ponzinibbio was in total control the whole match. And Ponzinibbio was just taking him apart, man. Brutal leg kicks. Magny was jumping on one leg multiple times. I mean, I thought they could have ended the fight after the second round, to be honest with you. But, you know, they let Neil Magny be a warrior. He took even more punishment, and he eventually got face-plant KO'd. So, however you want to see that, if you think that's a good thing for his career, if it's a bad thing. But, you know, I think Ponzinibbio just cemented himself even further that he's a serious guy. If he could be more active, he could definitely be a potential, title challenger for sure. And Neil Magny, he definitely, in my opinion, it looks like Neil's kind of slowing down a little bit. And he had a great career. I still think he's probably right around the fringe of that top 25, but definitely not in the top 10. And definitely not a threat to the title at all, in my opinion. But great night of fights, fun fights in Argentina, but we're going to move on now to UFC China. They're going to be going to Beijing, and it's going to be a rematch. Curtis Blaydes against Francis Ngannou. And the first fight of the night I'm actually really intrigued with. I actually have a small play on the first fight of the night, and it's against Sumudaerji. Sumudaerji, I guess. I mean, I don't know if he has another last name, but that's the way that I found it, the same name twice, against Luis Smolka. And Sumudaerji, he looks like a very intriguing prospect. He's a Chinese guy. He's extremely athletic. He has a dynamic striking style. He has a great frame for 125 or 135. He's very tall. He's long. Does a good job using his reach, making fighters fight at his range. Great forward pressure, in and out movement. Long karate stance. He keeps his range with nasty side kicks to the body, to the head also. He has a laser for a left hand. Really extremely accurate striker. Keeps his hand down, and it makes him hard to see when his punches are coming. He has nice round kicks, spinning kicks to the head also. He does a great job landing a jab, straight left hand, pulling fighters into his power. Great job slipping punches, sliding just out of range. He also would throw spinning back kicks to the body, leg kick to a spinning back kick to the head combination. He really can get wild in there. He's a finisher. When he hurts fighters, he's extremely accurate with finishing punches and shots. And he even used jumping attacks, flying knees. And that's kind of where he can be susceptible at times, because he can end up on his back, because he can get a little bit just too reckless at times. And off of his back, he's very weak. And he's taking this fight on short notice. He just got submitted 3 weeks ago, so that's a little bit sketchy. And he's only 22 years old, and he's very active in 2018. It's going to be his 6th fight. And I think he's going to be ready to go. I think he's used to fighting a lot. And he's a fighter who loves to be in the cage. You could tell he's always laughing. He's always, having fun in there. He's smiling. And he's a finisher. He has 9 KO, TKOs. A serious striker, in my opinion. Definitely has a good chin. He's willing to eat shots to give his own. Never been finished by strikes. And I think he's going to love to have a stand-up fight with Smolka if he's going to give it to him. And, I think Smolka should definitely shoot for takedowns early and often in this match. Sumudaerji seems to be improving on his wrestling defense. He's not interested in going for takedowns himself, but he's shown good takedown defense in space. He'll sprawl on double legs, limp leg out of single legs. Against the cage, his takedown defense definitely needs work. He puts his feet too close together. He makes it easy for opponents to get double legs. He doesn't seem comfortable on the ground, and everything he does is explosion. He'll try to explode out of positions. And he's athletic. He can swoop to top position out of mount. He can return to his feet. He can explode out of positions at times, but it also makes him susceptible to be submitted. He's been submitted all 3 of his losses, and there's a big jiu-jitsu difference between him and Smolka. Off his back, I feel like he's going to be very uncomfortable, and even in top position, he'll try to pull out of opponent's guards, and that's usually when fighters get caught, so don't think Sumudaerji should want to be on top or on bottom in this fight. He needs to keep this fight standing. He can't get too crazy, get himself off balance, or let Smolka take him down. And on the feet, he needs to stalk Smolka, make him uncomfortable, draw out strikes, bad takedown attempts, and counter. And if he can keep the fight at range, I see him finishing Smolka at some point in the match. And for Luis Smolka, he's returning to the UFC after 3 consecutive victories. Both fighters fought last month. They're coming in on short notice, so definitely is a little bit odd. Smolka, in his fight I watched, I saw that he really got beat up pretty badly in the first round, and then he was able to come back, get a finish or get a win. And So he took some damage as well in his fight. And this fight's going to be at 135 pounds. And I believe Sumudaerji is going to have a small size advantage, but both these guys have fought at 125 pounds in their career. And Smolka's a pressure fighter on the feet. He likes to walk opponents down, throw a check left hook, leg and body kicks. He'll throw a jab straight right hand. He'll throw front kicks to the body. He tries to land right hooks over the top of other people's shots. He has good head kicks, but he's very slow with his strikes. Fighters are able to see his punches coming, slip them, catch his kicks. He also doesn't have great defense. He just has a high guard. He stands flat-footed. He got clipped several times, dropped by Mateus Nicolau in his last UFC fight. And he's tough. He has a good chin. He'll continue to press forward even after he's dropped, bloodied. Definitely one of those tough Hawaiian guys. And he needs to close the distance on the feet, make it a close-range fight. If he lets his opponent control the range, walk him down, he'll be in big trouble, in my opinion. And Smolka isn't a huge KO threat on the feet, but he does have 6 KO TKOs, and he's never been finished with strikes himself. He's a good BJJ practitioner, but not much of a wrestler. He's tall, he's long for the division. He tries to use his length to get body lock and trip takedowns. He'll also shoot single legs, but he isn't a super active seeker of the takedown. He'll stand on strike with a lot of fighters in fights, and that's a bad idea to try to do in this match. But Smolka's wrestling is bad. He's too comfortable going and staying on his back also, and he's dangerous to submissions. He's very good at scrambles. He'll throw up triangles, arm bars from bottom. Does a good job getting him out and getting to the back on top. And he has 6 submissions. His submissions definitely will be his best chance to win this fight. And he's been submitted 1 time, but that's something he won't really need to be worried about in this match. Definitely not getting submitted. And Smolka needs to use his experience, pressure this kid, get him uncomfortable, then somehow get it to the ground. If he could find the fight to the ground, I think he could submit Sumudaerji for sure if he can get on top. But I think Smolka's up against it here. I think this kid's pretty impressive on the feet. I don't see Smolka being able to survive on the feet with him if it stays there. And I've seen Sumudaerji show some good takedown defense, and the way he usually ends up on his back is from his own fault. And I think that he's going to be in China, his home country. And I just have more faith that he's going to be able to catch a KO Luis Smolka. So I'm going to go with Sumudaerji to pull the upset there against Luis Smolka and spoil his UFC return. And I'm next to have Kevin Holland fighting against John Phillips. And, last time I called it pretty well with John Phillips. Just doesn't really seem like he has a great ground game, but he had a disappointing debut, obviously. He got submitted quickly by Charles Bird, and he's an SBG Ireland product, so they haven't had very good success lately, but he's going to be looking to turn the results around, and he comes off, he's a pretty powerful striker. He has 18 knockouts. He definitely possesses one-punch KO power, especially at his left hook. Comes out very quickly. He throws hard hooks. He tries to overwhelm fighters and finish early. He will throw nice shots in the dirty boxing range, as well as body punches, uppercuts. He likes to come forward and brawl in a phone booth, and he's very willing to take a shot to give a shot. He likes to talk shit, goad fighters into wars, and he struggles to fight at range against faster opponents because he truly just looks to throw hard hooks. He has a great chin and belief in it. He can take a shot, can continue to walk forward. He doesn't throw many kicks, but sometimes he'll throw a leg kick every now and then. And definitely a finisher in the first round. 16 of his 18 KO TKOs are in the first round. And he's only been finished with strikes 1 time in his career. And that was the second fight of his career. So he hasn't been finished in a long time by strikes. He isn't a good wrestler. He doesn't look to grapple offensively much either. Very questionable takedown defense. He does a solid job protecting himself, but he doesn't have much of a good get-up game. But if he gets taken down, he can't be held down the whole round. He does have a decent triangle choke. He throws hard body shots that clinch, but shows almost no takedown defense against the cage. And he isn't the fleetest of foot or most athletic guy. He lost to Jesse Taylor by submission very quickly in round 1 by guillotine. And he has a good squeeze, though. If he can get a hold of your neck, he could end the fight with a choke himself. But he got taken down very quickly. He looked like a fish out of water in his UFC debut off his back against against Charles Bird. Submitted very quickly. And Phillips only has one way to win this fight. He needs to start fast, close the distance, land one of his power hooks, and knock Holland out. I don't see many other avenues for him for victory. And for Kevin Holland, he's a showman. He likes to talk a lot of shit. He likes to use a lot of antics in the cage, be a little bit silly. And don't think that's a smart game plan here. I think he should just take care of business here because this guy does have big power. He's dangerous early. And you don't want to mess around and get clipped and, have a stupid loss on your record. But he has great confidence and composure, and he's just the ability to stay calm in the fire, in the cage. You can just see it. Extremely long. He's an 81.5-inch reach. Uses it fairly well. He has a wide stance, good at in and out lateral movement. He uses his front leg a lot. He'll throw front kicks to the leg, to the body, to the head. Fast kicks. He has good straight punches. He can be a bit loose and open with his defense. He can get countered. And he will close the distance with the right hand, get the tie clinch and load with big knees and elbows. He has nasty elbows and clinch. He's had a spinning back kick or spinning back elbow knockout. And definitely is dangerous in close range. And he's a Travis Lutter brown belt. He has solid body locks, good ground and pound. He'll throw hard punches standing or guard. He has good length. He can land big elbows. He's dangerous with submissions. He has a nasty guillotine, good triangle. He'll go for leg locks. Has a good omoplata sweep. Very active on top or his back. And it's an interesting wrinkle to his game as a long striker. He has good cardio, solid chin. All his wins are by finish. He's never been finished by strikes. Only been submitted one time against Rafael Awado Jr. He's an extremely high-level jiu-jitsu guy. And he has some good wins. He's fought some high-profile fighters. He had a good performance on short notice against Thiago Santos. And a smart thing for Holland to do is to close the distance, take Phillips down. And if he can get him on his back early, he has a good chance of getting the submission. And I think Holland can also outstrike Phillips, but taking him down will be definitely the easiest path to victory for him. Holland should get the first round finish here. I see him getting the takedown, submitting Phillips. He has trained with Charles Byrne, who, just fought Phillips, was able to take him down very early and get the submission. And to me, man, I feel like he should use that same game plan, path least resistance, just take him down and get the submission. So I'm going to say Kevin Holland be a first-round submission in that fight. And up next, Xiaonan against Kondo. And, both these fighters have fought in the UFC. They both had some fun fights. Xiaonan, she's no joke on the feet. She has big power. She's very aggressive. She throws full power on every shot. Light on her feet. She has a long karate stance. She utilizes the front leg as a rangefinder. And unlike most karate fighters, she has fast hands. She throws hooks in combination. She has a sharp, stiff jab that she uses to set up her combinations. Good power in her hands and her straight punches. And she leads with her left hook very effectively. She has a powerful straight right hand. Great job throwing her left hook faded away, circling back to the center of the cage. She's very good lead leg, and she'll throw hard stop kicks to the knee, inside leg kicks, nasty side kicks to the body, to the face. She has good speed and power on those kicks, and it's hard to see them coming. She'll throw a lead round kick as well. She doesn't move her head much. She can't get hit with the overhand straight punches. She has gotten better with her lateral movement, and the more she improves with that, the harder it'll be for opponents to get a hold of her, to back her up. And she's going to be a problem for a lot of fighters if she's able to stay in the center at range. And she has 5 KO, TKO. She's a good finisher, especially for the 150-pound division for a woman. And she has a strong chin. She's never been finished herself via strikes. She's a developing grappler, but she's very physically strong. She's improving in that facet. She's strong in the clinch. She's hard to take down. She'll throw nice elbows, short knees. She still doesn't have the greatest technique with her clinch work, especially against the cage. She tries to muscle out of a lot of positions. She doesn't pummel or use underhooks very much. She can't be controlled against the fence because, she definitely needs to improve, her underhook or public game. And she still stands too tall in her striking. She can't get clinched up against the cage, taken down. She is the offensive grappler. She won't go for the clinch or takedowns herself. But I think she will be the bigger, more physically strong fighter in this matchup. And that could play a factor in defending tie-ups and takedowns. And Xiaonan's going to be the quicker fighter on the feet with more power. She should attack the body with kicks because Kondo got forward with one kick against Paolo Botelho. And Yan should try to walk Kondo down, walk her into her left hook, straight right hand. Also, keep the fight in the center of the cage. Don't let Kondo clinch up with her. Don't let her waste time. And, land knees and short shots in the clinch. And Kondo, she's going to be looking to bounce back here. She's coming off her first loss. Quick first round TKO. And she has good pressure. She walks fighters down all fight. She has a nice jab, falls out with her overhand right. She does a decent job laying the right hand, getting her head off a center line. She likes to throw the jab, straight combo, straight right hand. And she will throw some kicks, leg kicks, body kicks. But she should throw more kicks, in my opinion. She does get tagged as she closes the distance. She is very stiff. She doesn't move her head much. She just walks forward with a high guard. It also leaves her susceptible to body shots. She doesn't do a great job cutting off the cage with her pressure. She usually just comes in on straight lines. And she's not the fastest fighter. She's a good chin. She'll walk forward. She'll eat shots to the head. She throws spinning attacks in the pocket, spinning back fists, spinning kicks to the body. And she's only been finished one time in her career. And, she definitely has good pressure. And if she can get this fight in the later rounds, really push the pace, that's probably her best chance to win on the feet. She's a good volume striker. And she only has one TKO. Kondo is not a wrestler, but I do see her trying to use a more clinch-heavy gameplay in this match. She likes to use her punches to close the distance, get the single collar. And she has decent knees in that position, to the body, to the head. Will push fighters against the cage, also land short knees there as well. If she gets out of that position, she'll be able to earn some control time. But she struggles to close distance to get in the clinch, and she isn't very physically strong. And Kondo does have a gas tank. She continued to fight all 3 rounds, and I think Kondo's best back to victory is to try to clinch. Yada gets the cage early, zaps some energy in round 1. After round 1, she can start to implement her striking, land her straight punches or jabs. In the 3rd round, I believe she probably will be the fresher fighter if they can get there. But in my opinion, Yada will be the stronger, more powerful athlete. She needs to move forward, but stay in her range, move in and out. And I think Yada will land big shots early, have the chance to finish the fight. If she can't finish the fight in the first 2 rounds, I think it could get hairy down the stretch. But I don't think Kondo has enough power to hurt Yada or stop her forward pressure. And I think Xiaonan should win this fight. I'm going to say she wins via decision, 29-28 or 30-27 on all cards. And up next, Jessica Aguilar against Weili Zhang. And I actually have a bet on this fight. I'm pretty confident in Weili Zhang. She's a beast, man. She's going to be fighting her second UFC fight in her home country. She's a tenacious fighter. She finishes fights. She has good kicks, nice leg kicks, good kicks to the body, nice spinning kicks. She'll use front leg attack a lot, side kicks, front kicks. She keeps heavy pressure on opponents. She's always forward, walking them down. She has decent hands, but her striking is really second fiddle to her great grappling. She has very good jiu-jitsu. She passes people's guards with ease. She likes to control her opponents from side control. She has a great mount. She'll land hard ground and pound, vicious elbows. She's pretty good with her ground and pound, man. She throws to finish the fight. She'll take the back at the rear naked choke. On the ground, I feel she's very dangerous. She has good cardio recoverability. I have seen her get rocked, and she's been able to get back up, recover very quickly, get right back to work. She can be a bit over-aggressive, running to punches and get hurt. And she's never been finished. She's won 17 consecutive fights. She's only lost her first fight ever in her career by decision. And she has 15 finishes, 9 KOs, 6 submissions. She's definitely going to be the stronger, better athlete in this matchup. And for Jessica Aguilar, she's a high-octane fighter. She has no problem getting in a brawl. She starts very fast. She gets right in your face. She likes to use a lot of fakes and feints, but she doesn't have great defense. She doesn't move her head. She's very stiff with her movement, especially her punching combinations. She does have nice low leg kicks, and that's probably her best technique on the feet. She'll go to the body with punches and then back up to the head. She is slow. She get pot shotted out volumed, but she has a good chin, good heart. She can take big shots of her own. She had a good fight against Claudia Gadelia, a good fight in her last fight, and she was able to show that she's still not completely done. She was able to land some takedowns. She was able to pressure Escobar, get her moving backwards. But in this fight against Weili Zhang, I just don't see her being able to do that. I think Zhang's going to be the one bossing the fight. I think Zhang's going to be the one moving forward. I think Zhang's going to be the one with the bigger power. And I just think Zhang's going to be the one that's landing the big shots. I think that if she tries to take her down here, I think she'll get reversed. I think Zhang will end up on top. And I think if she ends up on top, then Aguilar's in big trouble. But, Aguilar's a tough girl. She knows how to survive. She knows how to last in fights. And I'm gonna go with Weili Zhang via decision in this fight. I think it'll be a dominant decision, maybe even 30-26. But I do think Jessica Aguilar most likely will be able to survive. And up next you have Yanan Wu against Lauren Mueller. And Yanan Wu is a tall, long bantamweight. She likes to throw a stiff jab from the outside, followed by punch combinations. And she's aggressive. She walks forward. Decent hand speed in the pocket. She does throw wide and wild at times, and she does leave herself open to be countered. She's not the most fleet of foot either, and she kind of plods forward. She will throw a lot of leg kicks, front kicks to the body also, but they're more to find range than have big effect. She struggles with forward pressure. She doesn't know how to strike moving backwards. And she has a lot of experience for being only 22 years old, but she's still very green. And she's only won 6 fights via KO, TKO, but she does pack some power. If she can land, she could definitely finish. And she only has finished 1 time via strikes, and it was on the ground. But Wu's strong early. She's good to clinch. She lands knees and short punches. She uses a body lock takedown, and she'll go straight in about to finish fight with strikes. And, she has a nice body lock. When she fought Yana Kunitskaya, Gina Mazzani, she got taken down rather easily, and she was engaging in the grappling over and over against Mazzani, even after she showed that she wasn't the dominant person there. So she had some poor fight IQ in that match. but she's done some skills off her back in her career. She almost got a sweep. She'll attack with leg locks. She'll also attack with the arm bars. But during the whole time, she'll take damage. She won't try to get up. And she seems to enjoy those leg locks. She seems to enjoy working in that 50-50 guard. But she gets overwhelmed. She got stopped by ground and pound round one against Yana. She was grinded out by Mazani. And she seems to lack size, strength. She can't get bullied in the clinch. And overall, I feel she has good potential. She has good ability to improve. She does have one submission. She's never been finished. She tends to get tired in rounds 2 and 3, just try to get sloppily into the clinch where she gets out-muscled. And she reacted a little oddly to getting hit by a shot against Mazani, and she may be a little mentally weak. And she should try to keep this fight on the feet, strike. She has heavy hands. She has the skills to clip and finish Mueller. That's probably her only path to victory in my opinion. And Lauren Mueller is an impressive, well-rounded prospect out of Alliance MMA. And this is her first fight not in the USA and only her 5th fight total, so it's a lot to put on a new fighter. But Mueller is also a come-forward striker with power. She likes to walk forward, throw heat. She has nice long punches, good uppercut, straight right hand. She will throw a head kick too. She seems to have big power in her punches. She'll throw wild techniques to close the distance like Superman punches. She can't struggle to find her range, and especially when she gets tired, she just has her hands down. She'll plow forward, and that's where she could potentially get clipped and hurt. She seems to have a good chin. She eats shots, reacts, but she continues to keep walking forward. She'll never let it deter her. And once she lands clean, you can tell fighters respect her power. They'll back away. They'll shell up. She only has 1 KO, TKO in her 5 wins, but I definitely think she has good power. And she's never been finished herself. Mueller's very good in the clinch. She lands hard knees to the body and to the head. Strong cage control. She'll dig underhooks, land short shots. She likes to throw short elbows in that position, then duck under for single legs. On top, she's very aggressive with the ground and pound. She will sacrifice position and try to land brutal shots. And she's always coming forward. She's putting pressure on opponents. And her cage grinding style just wears opponents out. She also has cardio problems because she goes full blast in her attacks, throws everything in her shots. She'll get very tired. She'll take huge breaths, but she will continue to walk fighters down. She just will really slow down in her output. She was taking that fight on short notice. That she got very tired in on Dana White Contender Series. So that may be a reason why. And Mueller should focus on a clinch in this fight. She should look to close distance quickly. Get Will gets the cage, land knees and elbows. She should have a big technique advantage in the clinch. I think it'll be her easiest path to victory. And Mueller's only having her 6th fight and the first fight out of the West Coast in the United States. So it's a big step up for her in terms of, just going to a different country. A big field show, probably in Beijing. It's a big stadium. And she's going to be on short notice fighting a fighter in her country. So she's still very young. We have to see how she reacts to that. But thankfully, she's fighting a young 22-year-old fighter where her skill set should still rule the day. She should control Wu gets the cage, laying hard shots. I also see her getting her down, maybe having some top control. She may get tired later on, and if so, Wu can make better sweat. But I see Mueller picking up a rather one-sided decision here, and I see Lauren Mueller being the better fighter all around. And next you have Pingyuan Liu against Martin Day. And this is a fight that I'm pretty confident in. Pingyuan Liu is back. He had a great performance against Damian Stasiak. He's going to be fighting in his home country, and this is a good matchup for him. He's fighting Martin Day, who's making his UFC debut. Day is a 125-pound fighter, and I imagine Pingyuan will have a decent size advantage in this matchup. And Martin Day had an opportunity in Dana White Contender Series last year. He didn't capitalize, but he's won 3 consecutive fights on the Hawaii local scene to earn his chance here. And he's an athletic fighter. He enjoys throwing flashy kicks. He has nice leg kicks. He likes to move around on the outside, counter strike. Keeps his hands low. He'll try to counter with straights or hooks. He'll throw front kicks to the body. He also has good spinning back kicks to the head, round kicks to the body and to the head. He'll throw a left hook, right uppercut combination. He doesn't throw many setups. He can't get tagged close to the distance, but he has decent head movement and range control early. But as the fight continues, his movement slows. He becomes more hittable. And when fighters pressure him, he doesn't have good defense. He struggles to throw back. His strikes, he doesn't really have a good job of striking going backwards to step forward pressure. And he got very tired in round 3 of his Dana White Contender Series fight. He was almost finished. He has been finished 1 time by strikes, and he's finished 3 fights by a KO, TKO himself. But he doesn't have huge power, especially not in his hands. He is a decent grappler. He'll use wrestling in fights. He has a decent double leg, gets a cage. He does a good job getting body lock takedowns. He will shoot a double leg, and if you can't get it, he'll get in a single collar, try to land knees in a clinch, try to find another way to get to the ground, whether it be a body lock, drop it down to get a double or a single. But his takedown defense isn't great. He doesn't have much to offer off his back. He got finished with ground and pound in his TKO loss to Noah Lynn Hernandez. He was taken down very easily in that match. He has a decent guillotine and has 2 in his career. But he hasn't fought very high-level fighters, but he did just beat an 8-0 fighter in his last match. I'm not sure if Day is UFC level, and he's up against it here fighting up a weight class. Day needs to use a lot of lateral movement, counter punch till he can find takedowns. And on the feet, I think he'll really struggle with the boxing of Pig. Pig is an active striker. He became a pro at age 16 in 2010. He started his career 0-4, and he's been 12-1 since, and he's took a 3-year break from 2013 to 2016, but he's got 7-0 since returning. He's trained with Team Alpha Male for this camp. He's been improving rapidly. He looks very explosive. He has good hands, nice hard leg kicks, very aggressive on the feet. He tries to time flying knees. He has big power with his straight right hand. He closes distance very well with his punching combinations. He's very quick, and his straight right hand, overhand right are very accurate. He likes to follow with the straight left hand. He has a nice body kick, good head kicks. He's super aggressive. He marches opponents down with his striking, but he keeps smart pressure. He stays at his range. He doesn't get too wild. He will throw nice leg kicks also. He landed nasty spinning back fists in his last match against Stasiak. He looked very strong, explosive for that match. He also has a great chin. He'll take shots to give his own. He's only been finished 1 time via strikes, and he has 4 KO TKOs himself. He's very athletic, and you can see that in the way he grapples. He explodes out of bad positions. He can scramble very well. His cut-forward style allows fighters to close the distance on him, but he does a great job taking underhooks, landing knees. He also is very hard to hold down. If you can't cement position, you explode right back up to his feet, or turn the position into a scramble or 50-50 position, where Lou will do damage with strikes. When fighters cement position on top, he can be controlled for a portion of the times, and he isn't dangerous off his back. But he is calm. He'll eventually probably work back to his feet. He will throw up submissions such as arm bars, but his best submission is probably the guillotine when defending the takedown. He will hang on the neck from the standing position, jump for the guillotine if he feels he has a good grip. And I think he will be extremely hard to submit because his athleticism makes it hard to keep him in bad positions on the ground. He has gotten heel hooked 1 time in his career, but he has 6 submissions himself, and he's only been submitted 2 times. He's won 9 in a row, now training at Team Alpha Male with some UFC experience under his belt. I expect him confident, very comfortable, Pingyuan Liu. And Pingyuan Liu needs to close the distance, force Day to fight a punching heavy fight. Day has nice kicks, but I don't see those kicks scaring Liu, and I see Liu walking him down, piecing him up. And Mark Day's uncomfortable moving backwards. Liu's going to put the pressure on him. I think this fight's set up for Ping to win in his home country. I don't see any reason why Ping Liu doesn't win. So I'm going to say Ping Liu via 3rd round KO, TKO. And that's probably my most confident pick of the night. And up next you have Coulter fighting against Zaku. And, really not much to say about this fight. Both these guys are just not very good. Coulter's 0-3 in the UFC. Who's 0-1 in the UFC? Who's only 3-1 overall in his career. He's very young in his MMA career. He's never defeated a fighter with a winning record, and the combined record of his opponents he's beaten are 1-6. He seems to be just a big guy. He likes to brawl. He'll crash the distance, throw straight punch combinations. He also has no problem throwing in the pocket with fighters, but he still doesn't know how to strike moving backwards. And when fighters pressure him, he backs straight up. He'll just shell up. He will throw occasional kicks, but they're slow, and overall he's not a good athlete. He doesn't have huge power, but he has 2 TKOs and 3 wins. He's never been finished himself via strikes. He isn't a great grappler at all. He isn't really active with his own takedown attempts, but he will throw short knees in the clinch. He lets fighters get in on his legs and take him down so easily, though. And he will attack with front chokes, guillotines, which earn him his lone submission win. He can use it to get in top position where he does a good job getting to the back, but his back control is poor. He's able to stand up a few times against Cyril Asker. He should improve get-ups against the cage, so it does look like he's working a little bit on his takedown, his grappling, but he's still not good. Definitely slows down in fights. Asker was able to take him down, choke him out in his last match. And I don't think he should be in the UFC. He's probably fighting here because it's in China. He needs to keep the range, throw kicks, then try to blitz attack Coulter. But Coulter's had some fun fights in the UFC. He's been on the losing side of all of them, though, and he's a boxer. He's faster, more athletic than who, in my opinion. He has power in his shots. He's finished all 8 wins by KO. He tries to get inside, throw bombs. He has a good left hook, overhand right. He'll use his jab to find range. He has better hand speed than who, and he could catch him in the pocket if they're thrown wildly. He doesn't throw many kicks, but he has nice leg kicks, And, he showed a lot of heart in his fight against Chase Sherman. He fought back with his leg destroyed. He has been finished 3 times in a row by strikes. His chin is probably not as good as it used to be. He is a better grappler than who. I see him trying to use a heavy grappling game plan in this fight. He did get a body lock against Tai Tuivasa, and he did a good job closing distance, ducking under, getting to the clinch a couple times. And then the clinch he's strong. He's pretty explosive with short punches and knees. And this is where I think he'll have the most success striking. He could possibly finish in that area. When he gets on top, he's good elbows. But he is a submission threat. He can't get taken down himself. But he's explosive. He can just explode up out of bad position, stand up. He looked terrible in his last fight against Chris De La Rocha. He was taken down. He couldn't get out of position. It basically was just like the ref just saw enough of Chris De La Rocha's short punches and just called it a fight. But Coulter should look to close the distance, dirty box, then take who down. And, but I don't know, man. I have to go with Rashawn Coulter here. I'm going to pick him by first round TKO, but not much to say about that fight. Next, Kenan Song gets Alex Morono. And this is a fun fight. I feel like Kenan Song's an interesting guy. He's going to try to go 3-0 in the UFC, cement himself as a prospect to watch in 2019. And he's trained out of Jackson Wink. He's a powerful striker. He has one-punch knockout power. Pretty good counter boxer. Nasty straight right hand. He used that to finish both his UFC fights. Good counter right hook, and he'll cross the distance with straight punches. He will throw occasional front kicks to the body and to the knee. And he has strong body kicks. He's flat-footed, though. He needs opponents to engage with him in the pocket to be effective, usually. Fighters who can stick and move will give him problems on the feet. He will try to throw the occasional spinning heel kick to the body or to the head. He is a warrior who will continue to walk forward through shots to have an opportunity to land his own. And he has 7 KO TKOs. He's finished 4 of his last 5 matches in that way. He's been finished twice in his previous strikes. I watched one against Israel Adesanya where he took a lot of punishment. And Song's not really a grappler. He will not go for takedowns unless he's getting beat up on the feet. He likes to get clinch takedowns, if anything, but he doesn't have great top control. He's not dangerous with his top game. His takedown defense is not great. He gets double legged very easily. He will go for guillotines instead of defending takedowns at times. And off his back, he isn't very dangerous. He can be controlled, finished with ground and pound. He did a better job standing back up to his feet after being taken down than in previous fights last time out, but he does have 3 guillotine chokes and 6 submissions overall. He's never been submitted himself, but he does seem to get tired in round 2 of fights. But he can fight through fatigue, and he's going to need to get Morono to open up with forward pressure and counter with boxing. If he can land clean right hand, he could put Morono to sleep. And Morono's lost 2 or 3 fights. He'll most likely be fighting for his UFC career on Saturday night. And he's experienced fighting in Asia. He's already competed against Keita Nakamura last year. Lost a very close decision. And Morono's traded at 4-7 May for this camp, which is a great camp, arguably the best camp in Texas. And Morono's a Taekwondo black belt. You can really see it in the way he fights. He has a wide stance, solid lateral footwork, offensively and defensively. He'll use that to lead the dance by using the ladder move to cut off the cage, stay in your face, or he can use it defensively to circle, angle off, not get hit. He's always aware where he is in the cage. He usually doesn't let himself get backed up behind the warning track. He's light on his feet. He'll try to dart in with leg kicks, high kicks, solid head kicks, good spinning heel kicks. He'll throw nice front kicks to the body. He can't get lazy throwing kicks sometimes, just leave his chin in the air. And he stands very tall, is there to be leg kicked to take him down himself. He doesn't throw a combination a lot, especially with his hands. He'll try to dart it with one overhand right or throw a jab spinning back fist. But he doesn't put a lot of long combinations together. His footwork and ability to cut guys off, keep pace at a high volume of strikes is probably his greatest strength. He wears guys down. He can start to take over late. He showed some pretty clean counterpunching against Nico Price. He dropped it twice in round 1. But overall, he hasn't shown big power. He can't get wild. He can wing looping hooks at times. And sometimes someone could eventually take advantage of that. If he can time his entry and clip him. He needs to be very defensively sound in this matchup. He's a lot of movement, leg kicks, while not staying in the pocket with Song. He has 4 KO TKOs, and he's got finished with twice by strikes himself. Morono's not a wrestler, but he's a black belt jiu-jitsu. He doesn't really have any takedowns. He has no takedowns in the UFC, but he will throw knees to clinch, shots off the break. He'll jump for guillotines. He got that against Josh Bergman. Off his back, he'll attack with subs. He showed nice elbows off his back in the last fight, but he's not great get-ups, and he's too comfortable off his back. I don't think that's going to be a problem in this match, but he may go for takedowns himself. Who knows? I think Morono should try to stay on the outside, throw kicks down the stick and move. If you can get the fight to the ground, I think you'll have a pretty sizable advantage. But I think Morono likes to brawl. When that tendency comes out, I think he'll get knocked out most likely. I don't see him using many takedowns. I think this is going to be a standout fight. And I see Morono winning the fight, having a strong start, actually. And I see Zhang eventually fighting his rage, starting to read the entries of Morono, and I think he's going to land clean, clip Morono in the round 2 or 3, and eventually get the finish. So I'm going to go with Kenan Song to win there. And next we have Liang against David Zawada, and I actually put a bet on David Zawada here at plus 165. I think he's in a good spot here. This is a fun fight. Both these guys are good. Both fighters are aggressive strikers with knockout power. Zawada's explosive, athletic. He's a very physically imposing fighter. He likes to stalk opponents down, use, good combinations. He closes the distance with left hook, straight right hand. He'll also blitz forward with 2 or 3 straight right hands. He's very fast. He closes distance quickly in the pocket. He'll let go with multi-punch combinations. He has good head movement. He'll slip punches in return. Very willing to exchange. And he rarely ever takes a step backwards. He has a good step in knee. He also has nice body kicks. He wears on opponents, and you can see that in his match against Danny Roberts. It was a grueling fight. Zawada has 11 KO TKOs in his career. He's a finisher. He's only been finished one time via KO in his career. He's a very strong chin. And he's a strong grappler. He's a very active seeker of submissions. He'll shoot for double and single legs against the cage. He likes to fight in the clinch. Nasty knees to the body, the head. Strong boxing. Dirty boxing. He'll throw hard hooks, uppercuts. He likes to use sacrifice throws to clinch to get on top. He can end up on his back because of it at times. But he's very good on his back. He does a great job moving, creating scrambles. Does a good job attacking with leg locks, taking the back as well as sweeping the top position. He likes to get to side saddle, throw hard elbows and punches. He'll also work for the rear naked choke. He has good cardio. He's able to push through fatigue. His last fight was on short notice, and he was still able to show a pretty good performance there. I actually thought he won that fight. He has 3 submissions himself. He's been submitted 1 time. He's going to need to come forward and make this a brawl in Jigliang. Lee, he's been rocked in many recent fights. If you can lay it clean, I think Zawada could potentially knock him out. I also think he's the stronger wrestler grappler, which he could resort to if he's losing the stand-up. And Lee will be fighting in China again after a nasty first-round KO in China last year. He's won 5 of his last 6 fights, 3 by KO, TKO, so he's in good form. He has good shots in the pocket with hooks. He takes a shot to give a shot. He has nice low leg kicks, a nice straight right hand. He likes to let his hands go in the pocket. He'll throw hooks, uppercuts. Likes to walk fighters down, counter with the overhand right. He definitely has a questionable chin. Sometimes you get rocked early, come back to win, like Frank Camacho, Bobby Nash. But he got basically smashed by Jake Matthews in his last loss. He has good power to straight right hand. He can put fighters down with it. He has 5 KO TKOs. He's never been finished with strikes. And he used to get taken down, controlled earlier in his career, but since going to Extreme Couture's, it really improved his grappling. He has solid takedown defense, good get-ups now. Fighters are able to get it on top. He doesn't have a great bottom game. He got controlled on the mat by Matthews. Matthews was able to take his back. He probably would have submitted him if Jigliang didn't gouge his eyes. And Jigliang will be trying not to engage the grappling here, in my opinion, or the clinch. I think he's going to want to use his striking in reverse, or his grappling in reverse, make it a range striking fight. And Lee needs to make this fight a... try to hit, not get hit. I don't think he should get in a war with the more powerful and durable Zawada. But I'm going to go with David Zawada here. I think that he's going to get the upset. I think he's going to walk down Jigliang. I think that the Leech is going to engage him in a firefight early. I think Zawada's going to be able to find that chin. I think he's more durable. I think he has the bigger power. And I see Zawada find the shot, putting Leech down early. And I don't think he's going to let him off the hook like these other lower-level fighters that he's beaten, like Frank Camacho, like Bobby Nash. And I think he's going to be able to get it done. Whenever the Leech has got to step up to that top, 40-type fighter he's lost, Jake Matthews, Kenan Nakamura, Nadim Taleb. I mean, when you look at his record, his best win is arguably against Frank Camacho, who's 1-3 in the UFC. He's kind of a can crusher in his career, UFC career so far, but definitely is a talented fighter, and this would be his biggest win to date. So it's a big fight, but I'm going to go with David Zawada, pull the upset here and get the victory. And up next we have Jadwiszczok against Vince Morales. And Jadwiszczok is back, man. The infamous man, or who knows if he's 58 or 20 years old or 35, but he's back. He's ready to fight, and he's fighting Vince Morales. He's a boxer. He's pretty one-dimensional, but that one dimension is extremely good. He has fast, crisp hands, nasty punching combinations, extremely accurate, sick jab. He'll double, triple up on it. He'll pod the jab, then land a powerful straight right hand. He's very clean. He has nice short left hook in the pocket. He'll unload with clean punching combos. He likes to land a leaping right hand, back you up. His counter left hook backing up is pretty nasty. And when he lands clean, he can finish the fight with it. He's aggressive. He keeps a good pace. He likes to throw hooks to the body, occasional leg kicks. He does have a questionable chin, and when he gets clipped, he'll wobble in a lot of fights. But he has a good ability to recover and keep going. He is the grappler. He very rarely will ever go for takedowns or initiate the clinch. If fighters initiate the clinch on him, he's really improved his takedown defense. He's hard to take down. Does a great job sprawling on double legs, not letting fighters cement position. If they do get him down, bouncing right back up. He circled to the back and slammed takedown in his last Bellator match against an opponent. He also has good ground and pound. He dropped 2 opponents in fights that I've seen, knocked him out with brutal knockouts. He has 2 submissions, and he was submitted as low loss by Domingo Pilarte. And when Pilarte got his back, he looked very uncomfortable. He got submitted rather quickly. He has finished all of his fights and just won his first decision in September. So that is his first decision, and he's finished all of his other fights. And Morales needs to come out fast. He needs to try to catch Zhang early. If Morales can push the pace, make this a boxing-oriented fight, he has a real chance to pull the upset. But Jadwiczokk's back. He had a scintillating performance in his UFC debut, but everyone will notice that he's a prospect to watch. He's 2-0, 2 finishes, and a win here could catapult him to a top 15 matchup, so it's a very important fight. And the 20-year-old, he's extremely experienced. He's fought professionally since he was 15 years old, apparently. He's a very solid striker. He's light on his feet. He keeps good pressure, owns the center of the cage. He's a long karate-type fight stance. He does a great job leaping in with explosive, accurate punching combinations, getting out. Powerful straight and overhand right. He drops opponents with it. He dropped his last opponent with it before getting a guillotine finish. His distance control is very good. He can slide in and out of range very well. Does a good job slipping shots, returning with counters. He has a good left hook, right straight combination. Nice inside-outside leg kicks. He also has great balance on the feet. He's smooth. He's fluid. Very little wasted movement. I think his in-and-out movement will be key to winning this fight on the feet. He needs to stay out of boxing range and not fight in the pocket much. And if he can dart in, land his shots, and exit at range, Morales is much less dangerous. And Zhang is very powerful, explosive. He's won 6 fights via KO, TKO, and he's been finished only 1 time via strikes in MMA. But I also watched the 2016 kickboxing match where he was knocked out as well. But Zhang's a strong fighter for bantamweight. You could really tell that in the grappling exchanges. In the clinch, he bullies fighters with knees, elbows, and he could throw opponents around. He landed a nasty elbow in his last match that dropped Jadwiszczok before finishing him, and his takedown defense is super strong. He won easily. He was able to reverse the double leg of Jadwiszczok, end up on top, where he landed brutal ground and pound in all the grappling scenarios. He does a great job using heavy pressure in top position, then posturing and landing hard punches to the body and elbows to the head. He dominated Jadwiszczok on the ground with ground and pound in his guard, ultimately finishing him. And he was never threatened, and Jadwiszczok is known for having a good guard and submission game. Zhang completely nullified it. Zhang also has good back takes, great control, good arm triangle submissions. You could see his grappling really improved. He won't shoot for many takedowns himself. I have seen him get taken down with body locks. He's calm on body, but can tell he would find a way to return to his feet. And he has 3 submissions. He's never been submitted himself. Zhang definitely needs to respect the boxing Morales on the feet, fight smart in this match. He needs to use footwork, move in and out, frustrate Morales to make him open up. And if he can get Morales chasing, he could catch him coming in, finish the match. And this is going to be Morales' first fight outside the U.S., just his 11th fight overall. So he's still a little green in his MMA career. And he hasn't fought the greatest competition. He's probably facing the most explosive fighter he's ever fought. And I think Morales needs to try to finish this fight early, or at least hurt Zhang, get him to earn his respect. I think Morales needs to, finish or get a very clear-cut decision to get the nod on the judges' scorecards here against Zhang in his home country. And Zhang's probably the best prospect to come out of China in years, so I think they're heavily going to be favoring him. Zhang is going to be more explosive, the quicker fighter in there. I think his movement will really frustrate Morales, and Morales will want to make it more of a boxing match, and I think Zhang will stick and move, slowly but surely start to wear on Morales with big shots. He's landing, and ultimately I think he'll TKO him. I think Zhang should look to get in the clinch, and maybe even get Morales to the ground, where I see he has probably a big advantage in top position. So I'm going to go with Yadong Zhang, probably via 3rd round finish, but I could also see a decision there. And then next we have Alistar Overeem against Sergey Pavlovich, and if you guys have been following me, you know that I've been rolling with my man Alistar Overeem and getting it wrong. I picked him against Francis Ngannou, and he got knocked the fuck out. I picked him against Blaydes. I thought he actually showed a decent performance in that fight. He got finished again, though. And am I going to pick him here against Sergey Pavlovich? I mean, Sergey's a highly talented prospect out of Russia. He trains at Eagles MMA with Khabib's father. He's extensive resume against, some decent competition. He's 12-0. He's beaten some tough Russian fighters on the local scene. He's definitely a strong athlete. He's physically imposing in the cage, but I would say he's definitely developing. He's stiff. His movement isn't very good. He doesn't flow with the striking and grappling together yet. He doesn't really gotten that connectivity. He has to think about grappling. He has to think about striking. And he's a bit stiff with his movement. He likes to plod forward, keep forward pressure on opponents. He'll paw out a jab, left hook. He likes to draw out strikes to his opponent's counter or straight punches. He has pretty good hand speed, and if you do trade with him in the pocket, he has big one-shot power. He landed a nasty overhand right, dropping and finishing an opponent in his last match. And he'll throw hard, low leg kicks. He does a good job attacking opponents' front legs. Fighters who are able to move and use footwork tend to give him trouble. Quicker fighters are able to close distance, land and exit before Pavlovich can return, and have Pavlovich go at second almost the entire match. And Pavlovich will throw the occasional body and head kick, but they're very sloppy. He's a bit stiff overall with his striking. He needs to be more aggressive in this matchup on the feet. He needs to go first, not let Overeem dictate the pace and the range of this match. Pavlovich is explosive at short range, and he has the power to hurt Overeem. He has 9 KO TKOs and 12 finishes, or in 12 wins, and he's yet to taste defeat. And Pavlovich seems like a very strong wrestler, but oddly, he doesn't use his wrestling much in fights. He struggles to close the distance and to safely shoot takedowns or get in the clinch. And he makes it much more of a striking affair. If he can't close the distance, get in the body lock, he's extremely strong. He'll slam opponents to the mat. But he doesn't seem to like to work on the ground much. He just stands up from top position. His takedown defense is very strong. He's hard to take down. He has nice knees to the head, to the body, in the clinch. And when he thinks he can finish the fight, he'll go for it. He has good cardio, especially for a heavyweight. He's had a couple of 5-round fights. He's not a submission threat. He has 0 in his career. But he needs to be aggressive in this match. He needs to close the distance, throw his overhands, throw his hooks, clinch knees, and he has huge power. If he can get Overeem backed up against the cage or the fence and in position where he has to trade punches, he can easily knock out Overeem. But Overeem is a veteran of the game. He's a true legend. He's been a pro since 1999. He's still in the UFC putting it down. He's been finishing back-to-back fights, and he looks like he may be on his last legs. He decided to go to Elevation Fight Team after his loss to Curtis Blaydes. He's trained with him for this camp. And Overeem is an amazing striker. He definitely is going to be the most skilled fighter Pavlovich has ever faced. I expect Overeem to return to his methodical hands-down style. I think he's going to be looking to counterpunch, throw a lot of fakes and feints, trying to lure his opponents in, punch on him, just like he did against Curtis Blaydes. He is a nasty shooter at hand. He's still very fluid, very quick. He, with both his hands and his kicks. And he has a nice counter left hook. He can land it while angling off. He has no problem playing an outside striking game with Pavlovich. I could see this being a very boring, staring match. He will throw nice leg kicks. He'll throw the occasional hard body kick. Overeem will also get creative, throw front kicks to the face or jumping kicks like he landed on Arlovsky. And Alistair has struggled with people with longer, similar reaches to him because I think he feels uncomfortable. They can hit him at the same distance he can hit them. He has UFC lost to Antonio Silva, Travis Brown, Ben Rothwell, Stipe Miocic, Francis Ngannou, Curtis Blaydes. All those guys have as long as reach or longer reach than Alistair. And I wasn't able to find Pavlovich's reach, but I don't think it is that long. I don't think it's an 80-inch reach. Overeem is a knockout artist, but he also has a well-documented chin problems. He has 21 KO TKOs, but he's been finished 13 times himself with strikes in his last 2 fights as well. And Overeem is aware of his chin. It is gone now. He tends to fight very careful in the octagon nowadays. He needs to do that here. He's an underrated grappler. He's definitely gotten more grappling-centric lately. When fighters close the distance on him, be low, longer brawls. He'll try to clinch up, get double underhooks. Where he's nasty in the clinch, he'll land devastating knees to the body and the head. He's finished multiple fighters with clinch knees, most recently Mark Hunt. His takedown defense is very good. And on top, he's good. He has strong ground and pound. He can control you. He doesn't let fighters up easily. He has a very good guillotine. He is a great off his back, and he is hard to submit, but he's been finished by Stipe Miocic and Curtis Blaydes with ground and pound in recent fights. Overeem does slow a bit in round 3, but overall he has good cardio for a heavyweight. And Overeem needs to stick and move in this match. He's way more experienced. He could draw Pavlovich into a slow-paced range striking match. This is exactly what he wants. And Pavlovich in recent fights has got stuck going second, doing a lot of standing and staring in his last match. He was having a bit of trouble with his opponent before catching him with a devastating shot. And Pavlovich is going to be facing the best striker he's ever faced. And he cannot just stand at range and let Overeem fight his timing and distance. Overeem's old and very weathered, but still dangerous. And I think Overeem will probably be the faster, quicker fighter We're going to try to bounce around on the outside, use footwork, use kicks, counter with one-punch attacks. Overeem has developed into much more of a sniper in later portions of his career instead of a marauder. In this fight, that style is actually beneficial. Overeem has been finished twice in a row brutally. You have to wonder not only where his chin is, but where his mind is as well mentally. He has bounced back from consecutive knockout losses before. He's a veteran, so I feel like he should be prepared, but who knows. And Overeem needs to move, throw kicks, throw straight punches. If he could safely close the distance, land a combination exit, he should do that as well. Because Pavlovich gets stuck on second. I think Overeem is good enough to still win this fight, man. It's hard to pick Alistar. He could get blasted. But I'm going to pick Overeem to win a slow-paced striking decision, man. I'm going to pick Alistar Overeem to get another victory in the UFC. And next you have Blaydes fighting against Francis Ngannou. And, it's a very interesting fight. It's a rematch, but this time, Francis Ngannou is going the opposite direction, and Blaydes is going the opposite direction. Blaydes is the one ascending. He's becoming more of a mainstream name. He's won a lot of fights in a row. He's coming off a brutal finish against Alistar Overeem. He's looking like he's in the best form of his career, not only mentally but physically. And Francis Ngannou, he's had a lot of demons, had some terrible fights recently, has been in his own way mentally, and has lost 2 consecutive matches. So, it's a very interesting fight here. And I think that, I think Blaydes has the advantage in this fight, man. I really do. It's 5 rounds. The first fight with Francis Ngannou, Blaydes, I could tell that he was, he still had some success, man. He was landing his jab, he was landing leg kicks, but he was, much more sloppy with the striking. He was more open to be hit, and, he started some naked leg kicks. And Ngannou was able to land some big shots. And even when Ngannou landed clean, he landed some big shots. He dropped Blaydes. Blaydes was able to eat those punches. He was able to continue coming. And, you saw against Mark Hunt as well, the ability to eat punches and just recover so quickly is just unbelievable for Blaydes. He has a hell of a chin, hell of a cardio for a heavyweight. He's one of the few heavyweights that actually shoots takedowns. He'll shoot double legs, shoot single legs. He has great timing on his double leg shots. We saw that against Mark Hunt, against Overeem. He's getting much better at timing double legs when fighters are moving backwards, when they're off balance, blasting right through, get him to the ground. And once he does that, man, he has a great job, great body of the legs. He'll move directly into mount. And I saw in his first fight against Francis Ngannou and against Mark Hunt, when he's in side guard or in side control, he seems like some fighters are able to explode back up to their feet in that position. But that's a very simple thing to game plan for. They just have to stay in their camp, try to get a full guard, try to get a half guard, try to move to mount. Do not get inside control. Maybe even don't even move to mount. Just don't let Francis Ngannou get in positions where he can explode. Stay heavy on him. And we saw against Alistar Overeem, he stayed right in Alistar Overeem's guard, beat his ass with the elbows, eventually opened a brutal cut, finished the fight. And Ngannou did have a good performance in his last fight against Blaydes, in my opinion. He had some mid-fight adjustments. He started off at first, being very aggressive, moving forward, and then he started going backwards, started trying to counter, started trying to time Blaydes with big uppercuts, with straight punches, keep him on the end of his shots, and that's what I feel like France should do again. He should try to time uppercuts, time straight punches, and he can't put on his back, man, but I think that's a tough fight for him. I think the 5 rounds favors Blaydes. I think the travel favors Blaydes. I think Blaydes is in a better mental state. I think he has a huge advantage in one area, which is the grappling, and I think he's closed the gap in the striking. And I don't think that Blaydes is one of these guys that has fear of Francis Ngannou because he's already taken his shots. And so yeah, I'm fairly confident that Blaydes is going to get it done here. And I think he could get a finish here via ground and pound, man. I really do. I find it hard to see Francis Ngannou lasting 5 rounds in this fight. And I mean, you could never count out a guy like Francis Ngannou either. I mean, he has that one-punch power. He can finish the fight at any time. But, I'm still pretty confident in Blaydes to get the job done here. And, for the most confident pick of the week, like I said, I'm going to say it's going to be Pingyuan Liu. And if I had to give you guys a parlay of the week, I would say to try to do a parlay maybe with Blaydes and Zhang. That potentially could be a decent parlay. Or you could just do Blaydes, Zhang, and Kevin Holland. Those 3, I feel like that's actually going to be my parlay of the week. I would give those 3 fighters as the parlay of the week. I feel like they're all, pretty safe. I mean, Kevin Holland maybe is a little bit of a risky bet there, but I feel like with the odds for this fight, there's a lot of very wide odds. It's hard to find any underdogs with, great chances to victory. I highlighted a couple over there with Alistair Overeem, with David Zawada. Anyone that's fighting with Sean Coulter obviously has an outside chance of victory, or, maybe not even an outside chance of victory. Luis Smolka, Sumudaerji. I think Sumudaerji has a good chance to win that fight. So, hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys enjoyed the program, and we're going to be back next week. I'm going to be doing both the cards for next week. I'm actually going to be attending the fight on next Friday, hopefully, so that should be a lot of fun. And, I get to see some fun fights. And, so hopefully you'll keep rocking with me on these fight cards. Subscribe, like, comment, tell me what you think about UFC China, what you think about my parlay. Everything. I'm able to, I'll try to respond to everyone that comments below. And, everyone have a good day. Have a great Thanksgiving. And thanks for watching.